Hello, I'm Bruce Zimmerman, and this is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week. Now, every time I go to Canada Blooms, one of the sections I always head towards is the arrangement section. Whether it's the big international ones or the little miniatures that hang on the wall, or even some of the horticultural exhibits where it's more of a design of plant material. And the gardens, when designed, are absolutely spectacular. I'll never forget the flowered dresses, and I don't mean in material, but actually in flowers. It was a spectacular display. But this book is an indicator that simplistic design and use of indoor plants is just as effective. And the book is called Rooted in Design. It's by Tara Hebel and Tassie DeGive. It is published by 10 Speed Press and distributed in Canada by Random House. It is an excellent book, full color, so it's definitely inspirational. The nice thing about it is that it takes and breaks it down into different areas for different effects. So if you want to do some simple work with plant material. Usually we're talking about live plant material, though we are using some drieds, etc., in the area of, let's say, the wall, or on a ledge, or on the floor, or in the air. I like that one. On the table, in the kitchen, under cover. I'll let you figure that one out. And the roots. In other words, actually showing roots. It's an excellent book. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I keep paging through going, boy, that's easy to do. But I never thought of it. I've never used it. So, I mean, we're not talking about some strange and exotic plant material. In most cases, we're talking about plant material that you can easily grow, one. Two, find in stores and garden centers, and I think that's important, that you can at least find the plant material. Tillandsias. I have seen some of the best tillandsias in this book, and air plants for in the air. Wall planters. I took a look at one picture and had a whole new love of plywood because of the effect. And it wasn't just plants in the plywood containers on a wall, but it was also used for a few magazines as well, or a book. Hanging off a wall. Now, I've seen this done in malls, and I've seen it done in casinos, etc., but they show you how to do it here. It's been a long time since I actually mounted and repotted staghorn ferns on bark or on a piece of wood. They cover that in here, and it's been a long time. Some of the prettiest plants are begonias, and they use them in here effectively. And there is a particular begonia that is very large, very aggressive, and if you have the light, will winter very well in the house and be very effective. They also use the faux living wall. In other words, it's not really a living wall, it just looks like one. And I think that's an effective use on the walls. Succulents are used extensively along in this book as well. Makes them very simple and easier to use. The window seat is covered, and most people use a window seat for plants as well, but to arrange the plants so that it looks good with other materials. There was a picture in this book, and I can't remember where I saw it, where there is a series of books on gardening stacked up, and a vase on top full of plant material and a couple others. And it's a tabletop. Now, I looked at the books. None of the books I really want, nor have I added them to my library. But suddenly I'm going, gee, those were good old books. I think, I could pick those up for dollars, pennies at some used bookstore and use them effectively as a base to raise up a container so that it makes the plant stand higher as well. So some nice ideas. They use African mass plant, which is not that difficult to find anymore. I have seen one of the Aurelias, the variegated Belfour Aurelias, used in the floor section. The palms used in the floor section as well. We've seen those, and we know that we can do those, as well as Dracaenas. Now, when I first got into this business, and I was in the garden centers, you could buy macrame hangers. They show you how to make them, because I don't think I've seen a macrame hanger for a long, long time. And they show you how to do it and use it effectively. They show you how to do some interesting balls, interesting, totally Spanish moss. Okay, let's be honest, it's Lanzia, but it is very effectively used, particularly that gray ghosty color, very fine, very delicate, used not just on the top of an arrangement or in a pot, but actually hanging off a wall. That would be different. Now, I've seen orchids used in this book as well. So you can actually elevate from some of the easier and plants like pencil cactus to grow as well as the orchids. And so they cover a fairly wide range of plant material. There is a section in the back where it does select some of the easiest plants to grow, and it also gives you the conditions that they grow in. And it's as a chart, so you can go and you can look at them for light, water, moisture. If you're going to combine them and pick the plant that will fit your A, your busy schedule, B, the type of light that you're actually able to put in this particular area. But also, you know that if it's a highlight plant, you can pick other highlight plants, or if it's a low light area, other low light plants, and combine them to give you the effects that you're looking for. There's a whole section on that. And you know how I said that it also covers, orchids? It also covers terrariums. And it covers terrariums as desert terrariums, which is kind of neat and easy to do. More of the tropical wet rainforest type. And it also covers carnivorous plants. So actually effective use of carnivorous plants in an interior landscape for effect. It's an excellent, excellent book. It is well worth the money. It's $30 in Canadian. And I think it's probably one of the most inspiring books on indoor plant use and design. Now, there's lots of good practical books, and to be honest with you, I do like those practical books on plant material, okay? Both for house plants, indoor plants, and all the outdoor plants. But this one is also inspirational, with enough color, enough information that it is informative, and yet colorful enough that it could be a coffee table book as well. So, Rooted in Design, Sprout's Home Guide to Creative Indoor Planting, Tara Hebel and Tassie DeGive, is definitely well worth the buy. From 10-Speed Press and distributed in Canada by Random House. I'm Bruce Zimmerman. This is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week.